Assalamu alaikum, I'm Aisha and you're watching Samar News. Here are today's headlines. Caracas and Washington have reached a deal to export up to $2 billion worth of Venezuelan crude to the United States, a flagship negotiation that would divert supplies from China while helping Venezuela avoid deeper oil production cuts. The agreement is a strong sign that the Venezuelan government is responding to Trump's demand that they open up to US oil companies or risk more military intervention. US President Donald Trump has said he wants interim President Delcy Rodriguez to give the US and private companies total access to Venezuela's oil industry. US President Donald Trump's administration has put 25 more countries on a list of nations whose citizens could be required to post bonds of up to $15,000 to apply for entry into the US. The list mostly included countries from Africa, Latin America, and South Asia. The policy for the newly added nations will go into effect on January 21st, and also included Venezuela. Applicants must agree to the terms of the bond through the US Treasury Department's online payment platform. President Donald Trump has warned Republicans they must win the 2026 midterm elections or face the risk of impeachment by Democrats. Speaking at a retreat for House Republicans in Washington, Trump said Democrats would look for a reason to impeach him if his party loses control of Congress. He urged Republicans to stay unified and sell their agenda to voters frustrated by rising living costs, with control of the House and Senate at stake next November. Venezuela's Attorney General has challenged US charges against deposed President Nicolás Maduro, calling on an American judge to recognize what he said was a lack of jurisdiction and Maduro's immunity as a head of state. Tarek Saab also announced a criminal investigation into deaths linked to the US military operation and urged international bodies to take concrete steps to secure Maduro's release. China has criticized US actions in Venezuela, saying no country has the right to act as the world's police or judge. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Mao Ning said nations must respect each other's sovereignty and development choices and abide by international law and the United Nations Charter. She added that major powers should take the lead by exercising restraint as global tensions over Venezuela continue to grow. Venezuela's main opposition leader, Maria Corina Machado, has vowed to return to her country as soon as possible, declaring her movement ready to win a free election after the capture of President Nicolás Maduro by US forces. In an interview, Machado praised US President Donald Trump for toppling Maduro, who has since been jailed in New York on drug and weapons charges. She said Venezuela's political transition should now move forward. "We won an election in 2024 by a landslide under fraudulent conditions," Machado said, adding that in a free and fair vote, the opposition would secure more than 90% of the ballots. The leader of Yemen's Southern Transitional Council, Aidaros al-Zubaydi, has failed to board a plane set to take him to Riyadh and fled instead to an unknown destination. Zubaydi was set to travel to Saudi Arabia days after Yemen's government said it had asked Riyadh to host a forum on the southern issue. The Saudi-backed coalition in the country said a flight carrying a large number of senior leaders of the separatist group departed after a delay of more than 3 hours without Zubaydi and with no information on his whereabouts. Protests in Iran's capital continued for the second week, with eyewitness videos showing clashes between demonstrators and security forces at Tehran's Grand Bazaar. Rights groups say at least 25 people have been killed since unrest began over inflation and a collapsing currency. Iran's police chief said forces would deal with what he called the remaining rioters, as authorities balance dialogue with force on the streets.
And freezing weather has swept across parts of Europe, forcing hundreds of flight cancellations in the Netherlands and crippling travel at Amsterdam's Schiphol airport. More than 400 flights were grounded as snow and ice disrupted operations, while all domestic rail services were briefly suspended after an IT failure. Passengers are facing long delays as forecasters warn another winter storm could hit later this week. That's all for now. For more updates, visit www.samar.tv. Thank you for watching Samar News.